I'm Henry Frank, and I'm with the William James Association, and I'm going out interviewing people that are alumni from Arts and Corrections up and down the state, not just in one place. And today we're here with Roy Gilstrap, who I actually did time with and participated in the Arts and Corrections. Also, is the one who taught me watercoloring when we were in Corcoran. So, enough about me. I'm going to go to Roy and just tell us a little bit about yourself and were you an artist before you went into prison, and like what skills art-wise did you get while you were in prison, and when were you exposed to arts and corrections?
Okay, so I'm Roy Gilstrap, and I was not an artist when I went to prison, and I didn't experience arts and corrections until like 2000, 2001, and that was in Corcoran for a drawing class. And unfortunately, it didn't last very long, a few months, but fortunately for me, I was transferred to San Quentin, and we ended up at they got a great arts and corrections there, and some great teachers back then was so helpful and really patient with the mentality of a convict coming from one institution to another. So I had a really great experience with Patrick, and I went to like 2 of his classes. He taught a couple classes a week, and I just had a wonderful time there with that.
So what medium were you being taught about?
So as soon as I got there, I switched from watercolor to acrylic, which I swear by acrylics nowadays. I love it. It's the medium I'll never walk away from. I enjoy it. It's so forgiving. So yeah, acrylics.
And your genre is the underwater scenes. I don't know if that's your only one, but I know I see a lot of those paintings being produced. So what was it that attracted you to those paintings, that kind of scenery?
Something I've never experienced. So I'm from the San Joaquin Valley. I don't know too much about the ocean, but seeing all the pictures, because at San Quentin, the library in the Arts and Corrections room is just unbelievable. There's just an untold number of books that you can go through, and I started looking at all those and finding all these underwater stuff, and I just went with that. But so aquatic scenes is something I enjoy a lot, and I'm very good at. Landscapes, seascapes I enjoy also, and just recently I started doing pets.
Oh, cool.
That kind of stuff.
What kind of attributes, if any, did you acquire or learn out of arts and corrections? Like, what did the space give to you, if anything?
The freedom to grow, and after some time, 6, 7 months, I realized that within the arts and corrections setting, we didn't have to have our walls up. We didn't have to be racial. We would just kick back and learn from each other, and it didn't matter if the guy next to me was black or a northerner. We just sat down and we grew from each other's art experience, and so that was great. So I learned a lot about working with people and getting along.
So it helped you become social?
Yeah, my experience with arts and corrections made me more open to social experiences, because for a long time it was like, hey, just back off, I don't want nothing to do, because who knows if this guy can talk to him for 2 or 3 minutes and it might end badly. So I wasn't open for any social experience. But yeah, so it did.
So you would say that arts and corrections created a safe space for you to be able to be your authentic self?
Yes, because if there were usually people that weren't open to have that experience didn't stay long, because they would walk in, they would see multiple races working together, and then they would leave after a lesson or two and not come back.
Did you get anything from the experience of painting, of just the actual action of painting? Did you get anything from that?
Yeah, every time I break out my paintbrushes, I feel a calm, peaceful, and it's so enjoying when I start. And if there's no interruptions, 4 or 5 hours will fly by, and I don't even realize the time's gone. So, but the painting has been that way with me from day one, from when I was sitting in the cells in Corcoran trying to figure out watercolors. It was the mornings would just go by because it was just a peaceful experience.
Would you recommend arts and correction classes for others that may have some art experience or may have no art experience? And if you do, why would you advise them to take it?
Well, I would say go for it because it's a great experience, and just being around the people that's going to be in the class is calming, because that's something we don't have in prison, is calming, easygoing environment, and that's what that is. And if you have no art experience, you might surprise yourself, because painting is really pretty simple actually. Once you get in there and learn some techniques, next thing you know, you're not going to want to go to the yard. You're going to want to take and just sit in your cell and paint. That's the way I was in corporate.
Is there anything else you just like to share off the top of your brain, or you just feel you need to get off your chest
the great
right now?
people that you're going to meet when you're in arts and corrections, not only just the inmates, but it's the free staff. I've met some of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my entire life in that program, and I feel blessed that I had that experience and was able to meet these people. And I wouldn't change that for anything. If I had the opportunity to go back in time and change my outcome, I wouldn't do it, because none of this would have happened, and I wouldn't be the person I am today, because that experience with those free staff really changed my life.
Were there any difference amongst the staff? So I know there's a Max Shack and there's officers in there. Was there any difference with their character amongst the people that are participating in the arts and correction classes?
Yeah, a huge difference, because the officers, especially at the Max Shack, so they're right there, they watch us go in, and they're in and out of there, and they see what we're doing, so they're watching our experience, and they, in the long term, they actually watch and they see it change. And so they, with like Officer Jackson and those guys, they were more apt to make sure our programs ran on, like when we had fog lockdowns and stuff, they would come and get us, because they would know that that's something that we needed. That was a positive experience. So a lot of those officers, they see what we're going through, and then they see how well we change and how our behavior changes in arts and corrections. So I believe I had a better experience with the officers being part of arts and corrections than not.